Hello class, we're going to talk about photosynthesis today. We are going to be able to describe the structure and function of the chloroplast. We should be able to describe what happens in light-dependent reactions and explain the Calvin cycle. First, we're going to start off with the chloroplasts. These chloroplasts make up the plant cell. You're going to find inside the chloroplast these little green things. These green things are the pigments of the plants. That's why we see plants and they're green. They're going to absorb different types of wave light, and it's going to be red, blue, and violet. Well, that's the color of light that they absorb to produce energy. They reflect green light. That's why we see green when we look at plants again. So the location of the chloroplast. So we have the mesophyll, then we have the stoma, veins here. If you go into the mesophyll cell, that's where we have the chloroplast. And inside the chloroplast, we have the inner membrane space, the outer membrane space, the inner membrane, the thylakoid space, the thylakoid, the stroma, all of that good stuff. The thylakoid membrane is where the light-dependent reaction is going to take place, and the stoma is where the light-independent is going to take place. So inside the chloroplast here, let's talk about it. Here's our whole chloroplast. We have the outer membrane, which is the green, the inner membrane, which is like the red-orange. We have the stoma, which is this area. We have the thylakoid. We have stacks of thylakoids, what's called the granium. So the thylakoid is going to be where the light-dependent reaction takes place. Light-dependent means it depends on light. The granium are going to be the stacks of thyloids. The intergranium is going to be the connected granium together to create a single function unit. So all of these are connected together, and they are all doing the same process. The stroma is the space outside the thylakoid membrane. It's going to be like a jelly-filled thing, and that's where the Calvin cycle takes place. So just another picture again, inside the chloroplast. Energy collection. Chlorophyll absorbs light energy, and I talked about wavelengths earlier. And it's going to absorb the blue to violet and absorb the red. These colors right here are the colors that they reflect. You can see right here. Chlorophyll B absorbs the blue. Chlorophyll A absorbs the red. Right here, these wavelengths do not get absorbed. We have a little spike in the orange, red, but not too much from the chlorophyll B. A large part of energy is transferred to electrons. The light energy produces a steady supply of high-energy electrons to make photosynthesis work. Electron carriers. Okay, these are going to be high-energy electrons need a special carrier. The carrier transfers the electrons and their energy to another molecule. NAD plus is an electron carrier. It is waiting for electrons like an empty taxi. NADPH is an electron carrier, and it has electrons to transport, so it's going to be a full carrier. So just like ions, if we lose that hydrogen, we're going to lose an electron, so then it becomes positive, and vice versa. If we put the hydrogen here, then it's going to be full, and it's not going to be positive. So let's talk about photosynthesis. This diagram right here is on your Chapter 4 test. Okay, this part is already filled out for you, this part is already filled out for you, and this one's already filled out for you. You have to tell me that light is going to go in, and that creates the light-dependent reactions. Also, H2O goes into the light, this is the thylakoid, goes into the thylakoid, and it breaks apart with the energy and produces O2, which is oxygen gas. Also in the light-dependent reaction, with the light going in, it actually produces ATP, which is energy, as well as NADPH, which is the electron carrier to get the Calvin cycle moving. So this Calvin cycle is going, and when that happens, that takes place in the stroma. CO2 is brought in, and that produces sugar, and normally it's glucose. After this takes place, it's going to release because that electron got lost here for energy. It's going to release NADP plus back into the thylakoid, and also ADP back into the thylakoid. So then it can get reused and recycled to form NADPH and ATP again, and it just keeps going and going and going. So this is photosynthesis at a whole. You need to be able to tell me that light goes in, water goes in, oxygen is produced, CO2 goes into the stroma, and sugar is produced. Like I said, this diagram right here is on your test, so you might want to star and highlight that. Okay, in the stroma, or in the light-dependent reaction, we had the electron transport chain, and this is just an overview. I'm not going to go through it all with you because I think it's too much right now. This is for higher chemistry. This is all like the chemistry aspect, I guess, from photosynthesis. So I'm not going to go through that, but just so you see it. So again, like I already said, the light-dependent reaction, oxygen gets produced as well as NADPH and ATP. Oxygen, this is what we're going to breathe, and these are going to transfer electrons to the Kelvin cycle. Any questions at all? The first step, too, also, you need to know this for the test, is that photosystem 2 begins the light-dependent reaction. It transfers energy to the electron transport chain, which then transfers energy to photosystem 1, and then ATP and NADPH is produced. It's a lot of steps, but just make sure that you know that photosystem 2 is the beginning step. Here's just another electron transport chain. These are the electron transport chains from photosystem 2, carries electrons, then carries electrons to photosystem 1, and then it produces that to go to the stroma, then back to the thylakoid. So like I said before, photosystem 2 begins light-dependent reactions, captures sunlight, produces high energy electrons, and splits the H plus from the O2 in the water. We don't need to talk about those. I'm just skipping through. If you want to go through the PowerPoint by yourself, that's fine. Just trying to pull the important information out for you guys. ATP synthase is actually on your test as well. ATP synthase is a member protein that allows H plus ions to pass through the stroma. So it's going to actually turn ATP to ADP, and vice versa. It creates ADP to create ATP as well by adding a phosphorus group. If you want to stop and click on those videos, you're more than welcome to, or pull up the other PowerPoint from Edmodo. Here's another overview. Again, this cycle is going to be on your test. This same exact picture. I pulled this picture and put it on the test. And that is it. Again, if you want to pull up this PowerPoint, it will be on Edmodo for you. If you have any questions, just let me know.